Hello everyone, Mr. P here again with another How Do We video. The other day we looked at how to be a Google Meet master and my top tips for that, and today we're going to look at how we can become a master of using Google Classroom. So come and have a look at this video if you're interested in finding out my top tips to being a Google Classroom master. Check this one out. So welcome back. Today we're going to look at how to use Google Classroom effectively and my top tips for becoming a Google Classroom master, following on from our Google Meet master video the other day. So tip number one, and it is always really important that you safeguard yourself whenever you're in an online classroom and making sure that you've got other adults who've also got eyes on your classroom. So to do that, we're going to head across to the people button at the top by here, and if we click on there, that will then see your teachers and your students. So you can already see that there's two teachers in my classrooms, myself and then my separate account as well. So to add another teacher into the classroom, head over to this button on the right, so the little person with the plus sign next to them, click on there, and all you will need to do is type in the email address of the other teacher you'd like to invite into your class. It might be a teacher or a TA, invite them across, and all they will need to do is accept that invitation, and then they will be part of your Google Classroom. So my first and most important top tip is safeguarding yourselves. Get another adult in that classroom so they've got eyes on everything that goes on as well. So my second tip today is how we arrange the work that's set into Google Classroom. So you've got your stream across the top, which is where all your announcements will take place. But if you head across to Classwork, okay, this is where you're going to post all the assignments that the children will need to complete throughout the week or throughout the day of their learning. Now, I find it best to arrange my topics into weeks. So week 1, week 2, week 3. So when the children log in, they've got an understanding of which week they're on. Sometimes I might date it so they know exactly where they are and they can follow the structure of that throughout the week. So to create a topic, okay, all you'll need to do is click on the create button by here, and you'll see the range of different options, but we're going to head down to topic. We click on topic then, you might call that home learning week 2. And then that topic then will go straight to the top of the stream on Google Classroom. So each week the children log into the Google Classroom to do the work, they will see week 1, week 2, week 3 and so on. It just makes it a little bit easier for them to navigate, takes away any of that stress or anxiety they have, and makes it a bit more clear and more structured for their thinking. So top tip number 2 is adding your topics in week by week and structuring them as weeks rather than English, maths, science, geography and so on. So tip number 3 on the Google Classroom Masterclass course, okay, is to make use of the different types of materials, assignments, questions that you have available. So you can see here in week 1, I've just put in some of the different examples, but to see the different types of assignments, if you click on create, you have 4 or 5 different options there that you can use whilst in Google Classroom. So simply, the first one is an assignment. So in assignment here, this is where you would add in all the different pieces of information, the materials, the Google Slides, Google Docs, the Excel sheets, whatever you want to put in there, you can add those into your assignment. Okay, so that's the first one, and probably the most used part of Google Classroom when setting work is the assignment function. So make sure you use the assignment function as well as the quiz assignment. So if you click onto the quiz assignment, okay, this will begin to generate a Google form for you to complete. So again, you can name it as a title, give it different instructions, okay, and then you've got a Google form there that will automatically arrive when you click on quiz assignment. There will be nothing on there. You'll have to go into that Google form and you'd have to populate that with the quiz questions that you would want to ask yourself. So it could be a guided reading response, it could be a retrieval quiz, it could be a fun quiz, it could be anything that you want it to be. But you need to make sure that when you do put a quiz assignment in, that you populate the quiz itself, because if you don't, they won't have anything to answer. So that's a quiz assignment. You've also then got in here the question. So very, very simply, you can pose a question to the children, give them some instructions, and then when they log into Google Classroom, they just click on the question and they'll simply answer it then in the top right hand corner. So that's the question, probably the most simple one of all. If you want to, and you want to add stimulus in, so you want to add videos and stuff, you can still do that as well onto the quiz, the question assignment there. The next one you've got is material. So if you're just posting up material, you don't want them to respond to anything, or you don't want them to do any quizzes or questions around them, you can just post a material up there. So there won't be any responses. You can pop in the name of your material and then add all the material in the bottom. So it might be that you're doing some flip learning and you want to give them some pre-reading or pre-watching. You pop that all in as material and then they can access that then before you actually deliver the lesson. It might be quite a nice idea to do something like this if you're about to do a live lesson perhaps, where you could add in the material that you want them to see beforehand. They can watch it so they've got a pre-understanding before they join your lessons. So that's material. So the last one then is the reuse post. If you click on here, you'll be able to find any post that you've used in any of your classrooms, and you can repost it then into this classroom as well. So you can use things in more than one place. If you're trying to save time, energy, and so on, that button is a bit of a godsend. So please try and have a look at using that. So that's top tip number 3, making use of the different types of assignments that we have available to you. On to number 4. So number 4 is, and this goes back to a bit like setting up your topics week by week, this goes back to clearly labelling your titles of your assignments, your quiz questions, whatever it is that you're setting up for your class, to make sure the children can navigate their way to what they're supposed to do on each day. So for example, you might put in Monday literacy as your lesson. It could be Tuesday maths, Wednesday spelling, whatever it is you want to do. But I tend to put in the day that the children are going to access it and what type of lesson it is, so they can see when they log on Monday, I'm expected to do literacy, maths, spelling, reading, and so on. So they've got an understanding, and it takes away any anxieties or worries or stresses that they have as well. So really important to label your lessons clearly, make sure the children understand what day they need to access it or need to try and access it, and then what lesson that material comes under. So sit it in your week and then day by day as well. Which leads me quite nicely onto lesson number 5. And lesson number 5 and tip number 5 is to make sure we make good use of the attachments that you can put on an assignment and the other types of material on Google Classroom. So I'm going to have a look here in the add button, okay, and you can see a number of different things that you can use or add to this assignment to help the children understand more about what it is they want to get to. So if, for example, you're asking the children to complete a Google Slides, okay, or something along those lines, if you click onto Google Drive, it will then give you access to all the files that you've got set. So what you can then do, as an example, is you can search for something in the search bar that you want to add. So I'll find there all the templates of different slides that I've made, okay. I can click on one, and then I can insert that, once I've moved my camera, into the assignment, and that is then there for them. Now this is the key bit, and people forget to do this all the time. I forget to do it as well. When you add a Google slide or a Google Doc or a Google Sheet into Google Classroom, if you want each child to have their own copy, you've got to make sure that you send them their own copy. To do that, if you click on this little drop down button here and click on make a copy for each student, when you press the assign button, each child will get their own individual version of that Google slide. If you don't do that, you get all the children on the same one, they're all editing over each other, and it becomes chaos. Okay, you get emails from children saying, "Sir, so and so's writing over everything," and you don't want that to happen. Okay, so please pop in the make a copy for each student option so each child gets one. Now there might be times where you want the children to collaborate and work on the same document. That's fine as well. We're just going to change that option to students can edit the file. Okay, so they'll all be working on it at the same time. So that's how you can use Google Drive. You can also add in a link. Now I find the links really important. If, for example, I want to send the children away to another website and I've put it into my instructions, I would also put the link underneath so that they can just click on that link and take them straight there. They haven't got to worry or fuss around going onto Google and searching for it. So you can pop in the link that you want them to go to there. They can click straight onto that link and it will take them then straight out to that website. So just makes things flow a little bit easier for the children once they're in Google Classroom. So that's the link button, and that can be done to any website that you want as well. Also, you've got files. So again, if you've got files stored on your computer that you want to upload, hit the file button and up you go. And then finally, the YouTube button as well. If you click on there, you just do a normal YouTube search there, or paste a URL across from YouTube into that box, and then you can pop any video you want. So if I, for example, wanted to put Baby Shark in there, who knows why you'd want to do that, you can click on Baby Shark, you can add it in, and then that will be there then for the children to see. So that's the different options that you've got available to yourself in terms of attaching documents. You can also, straight from the Google Classroom setup page, you can add in a document, a slide, or a sheet yourself, and you can create it from there. So I would make use of all of them, try and make your life as easy as possible, put all the resources in one place so that the children can access it as and when they want. So step 6, and this leads me on quite nicely again, as we're still setting up an assignment, step 6 looks a little bit at differentiation. So if you wanted to, say for example, set some tasks up for specific children and not others, this is a really easy workaround, and it's easy enough to do within Google Classroom to ensure that you can send out different tasks to different children. Now to do that, you've set your task up, you've put your instructions in, you might have dropped a video in there of you explaining what you want them to do, or modelling the learning, okay? Head up to the top here, and you'll see a button that says All Students. Now if you click on there, you'll see all of my students from the class have popped up. So we've got C-3PO, Darth Vader, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia. Now for example, if I wanted to just send work to Darth Vader and Han Solo, I can just click on them, and you'll see it's changed then to just 2 students. So as I hit the Assign button, that will then only be sent to the 2 students that I've ticked. If I wanted to go to more, I can add more, but if I want them all, just hit the All Students button. So it's a quick way of just differentiating the work and making sure that you can send the specific tasks out. Okay, so moving on to step number 7, and that is looking at due dates. Now, due dates are important. Some people like to use them, some people don't. I find that if I set a due date for my class, my children tend to work towards that target. Very, very simple to do. So when you're still in this assignment setup screen, you've chosen the students that you want, head to due date, click on there, and then you've literally got to just then choose from the drop down, move my camera slightly, choose from the drop down bar the different date that you'd want the child to access the work or respond to the work by, and then you can put a time in as well. So if you want to do it, you can pop it on there. Absolutely perfect. So that's step number 7. Very, very simple, sorting out a due date for the children. So step number 8 on the route to becoming a Google Classroom master is making sure that when you set up your task, you put it in the correct topic. So we spoke right at the start of this video, setting your topics up and naming them week by week. Then we spoke about making sure we name the assignments day by day, so the children have got an easy access to the work so they know where it is. The most important bit is making sure that you put that piece of work into the correct topic. So if I click on the correct topic, on the topic button here, I'll get a drop down and I'll have all the topics that I've set up just underneath. So this is going to go into my Home Learning Week 2 button topic. So I can click onto here, and then when I assign the work, it will go into Home Learning Week 2. If you don't assign it to a topic straight away, don't worry. You can just drag and drop it into that topic afterwards, or just edit the assignment. It's a fairly simple fix if you don't remember to do it. So step number 9, 2 more to go, we're almost there, but this one is a bit of a lifesaver. I find it really, really helpful, and that is scheduling posts for a later date. So you might find yourself, if you're lucky, working ahead of time and having set stuff up that you want to post tomorrow or the following day or the day after. To do that, okay, and to not have it all on your Google Classroom from the start of the day, you can go up to the top, and next to the Assign button is a little arrow. And if you click on that little arrow, you then get the option to schedule the post. If you click onto here, okay, it will ask you then to choose a date and a time that you'd like to schedule that post. Hit the schedule button, and then Google Classroom will automatically post that piece of work at the date and the time that you've asked it to be sent. Don't worry if Google Classroom goes down or anything, or you forget, that will still post, okay? So as long as you put it in the schedule button, it'll go into the Google server and then it will post as well. So I'm going to hit schedule, and then what you will see is on your Google Classroom, once you've hit schedule, is that will be in grey. Now the reason it's in grey is because it means at the moment you can see it and it's ready to go out, but the children who are in Google Classroom will not be able to see that post. Okay, so making sure you choose the right way of posting it. If you want it out now, it will go black, okay, or dark grey, depending on your colour scheme, blue, green, whatever colour scheme you have on here, but it will be greyed out if it hasn't been posted yet. Okay, so scheduling a post, real lifesaver. Try and get yourself ahead of the game, get things posted out in time for the following day. Okay, the last tip today on my Google Classroom video, and I hope so far this has been really helpful for you, and this is all about providing feedback. So to provide feedback to any piece of work that the children have done, you can simply click on any assignment, okay, and you will see then on the right hand side how many children have handed that piece of work in and how many children it's been assigned to and have not yet completed it. So there's two ways of doing this. You can either click on view assignment, okay, and view assignment then will take you through to here and you'll be able to see everyone's pieces of work, or simply click on the number 2 for handed in. It'll show you the 2 pieces of work that have been handed in. Depending on which way you go in, you'll be able to sort then all the work by status, by surname, or by first name. So I can sort it by surname, and you'll see that it moves around. I can sort it by first name, and then I can sort it by status. Now, if you sort it by status, what will happen is all of the work that's been handed in will automatically come straight to the top, so you can work through it then in a manner that's helpful to you, or helpful to me as well. So you want to see what that child's done, click on to the piece of work. That will then open up their work, okay? I'm going to smooth my camera around a little bit. So we can see here Han Solo has handed in his work, okay? He hasn't done anything on it, but we imagine he has, okay? So you've gone through it, and what you can then do is make use of the private comment section here on the right-hand side. So in here, you can pop in any comments that you want to make about the child's work. You can praise them for fantastic work, for doing it really well. So any comments or feedback, whatever your feedback guidelines are, then you can pop them in there. You can give it a mark if your school's a marking work if you want to. Or what you can also do then is, for example, if you go along and you've noticed a spelling mistake, you can click onto it and you can right click and then add comment, okay? And in here then you can add a comment, well done. And the children then, once you hit the comment button, will be able to see that when they look back through their work. So what I tend to do is, after I've marked the work, I've made the comments, I hit the return button. They'll then get a notification, okay, in their email inbox, and it'll go back to Google Classroom. They'll be able to access the work, make their way through any changes that they need to make, and then be able to send it back to you once they've completed it. So it's a very quick, or not so quick, look through Google Classroom and how helpful it can be to you. I find using Google Classroom in that way makes my life a lot easier, with having the topics set up as they are, daily named tasks so the children know where they are, and then being able to provide the feedback by using the comment section within Google Classroom. Thanks again for watching the video. If you want any more tips and tricks with anything to do with Google, Microsoft, Flipgrid, anything along those lines, please check out the website below. There'll be more content added daily. Thanks very much for watching.